What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to episode 49 of Hit the Books. Today is Thursday, August 3rd. You are listening to us here. I am joined by my fellow co-hosts Ace and Mackie. No Jesse this week, as I believe he's away for work. Was a little sketch on why he's not going to be here this week. Just kind of left us in the dust, but I'll leave that up to him to hear whenever he's editing this podcast. I'd like maybe a little bit better of an explanation next week, but we'll get into that later. I'll hand things off over to Mackie. Mackie, how have things been with you?
Yeah, pretty good. Obviously missing Jesse this week. Like you said, Huff, looking a little sus over there. I don't know. He's gonna have to explain that one. But
Just a text. Hey, I won't be there this week. It's like, okay.
yeah, but other than that, not much going on. Yeah, just talking sports, gambling, you know how it is.
Yeah, I feel that. I'll hand things off over to Ace. Ace, how things been with you?
Yeah, not too bad. We were talking about this earlier in our group chat, but we're 3-0 in our last three MLB plays, so pretty stoked about that. And been doing pretty well on the personal card to start the day today too. So yeah, I wouldn't hate on Jesse too much. You can't really hate on him like you do with the running backs in NFL. They just like holding out and not telling you why. But that's all right. We all know they'll come around when you need them most.
That's a good point. That's a good point. All right, and to start off this week, we're going to get into our top three this week. Is going to be our top three NFL jerseys coming into this year with all the new teams announcing the new uniforms, whether it just be the new helmet with an old uniform in the example that I showed you guys with the Carolina Panthers, or a fully new uniform to go with the new helmet in the instance of like a Philadelphia Eagles with the Kelly Green. We're going to go through our top three that we're liking and we're most excited to see on the field this year. Who wants to start us off? Ace, you want to get us going?
Yeah, I can definitely get us going. My list is pretty classic, but got to throw it out there. Just love the way these jerseys look, honestly, and I'm soup for this season just because of it. Coming in at number 3, I'm going to go with that Tennessee Titans Houston Oilers look. I mean, can you just imagine King Henry stiff arming someone into oblivion wearing that the powder blue with the stripes on the helmet? It looks like a college jersey to me. Kind of looks like Ole Miss, so that one's going to be sick to watch. Coming at second, I think I've said this before, I got the Creamsicle Bucks jerseys. Really think they were 1 year late. Wish I got to see Brady rep that, but Baker Mayfield will be a dog in it as well. Hopefully get some sick comebacks. And then number 1, I have my Patriots red alternates there. I mean, it looks like Christmas Day type jerseys, but they have the Pat the Patriots on the side of the helmet, the bright red. I mean, it's iconic, so I'm hyped to see those on the field this year.
I like the list, Ace.
Yeah, that's a solid list.
Yeah, some good color schemes. Honestly,
there's not many bad. There's not many bad picks. There's not too many bad uniforms that I think got released this year. Obviously, people were kind of clowning the Colts and a couple of the other teams for not having to like a too classic of one to go back to. But I don't know. I think there's not many too bad decisions here.
Yeah, a lot of good colors, and like even Mackie was saying before, I was mentioning that Vikings jersey. Couldn't put it in my top 3 because of the flashy ones I mentioned, but even those like low key ones are just clean to me. So I'm excited to get some new looks in the NFL here.
I can get going now. I'm going to give the Patriots one as an honorable mention. I do really like those ones. It's not going to crack my top 3. Number 3, I'm going to go with the Brownies. Those all white. It looks so clean with that orange and that brown kind of that they have going for them. It looks absolutely sick. Can't wait to see it on the field. Number 2, I'm going to go with those Houston Oilers Titans ones as well. Like you said, they look like Ole Miss, and Ole Miss looks sick out there on that college field, and seeing these pro athletes wearing them is going to be pretty damn cool as well. Number 1, I'm going to Seattle Seahawks. That green that they have with that kind of bright blue that's like dark enough though, it looks so good together combined with those like silver gray helmets. It looks pretty damn good. Geno Smith is going to rock that so well, so I'm excited to see those as well.
I like those picks, Mackie. Thanks for shouting out my Patriots, but with those Seahawks ones, I think the only reason I shy away from them is because just in my mind, I feel like they were shitty when they wore those and like the good Legion of Boom Seahawks, you know. But I guess I'm not too much of a fan, so I'll be hyped to see them on the field, those colors.
Yeah, that didn't really come into play in my picks, but good point there.
All right, I'll get right into mine. Yeah, that is a solid list. I don't really have like any order. It's kind of hard for me to put them in order. My honorable mention is going to be that new blacked out helmet that the Carolina Panthers announced, the black and blue and silver with the black jersey, the all black look. I really like that look for the Carolina Panthers. My number 3 is actually going to be this new all white for the Arizona Cardinals. I don't like their red or black, but that all white look with the red numbers and the white helmet, I really like that for them. Obviously, not too good of a team, so not really too excited to watch the Cardinals playing those, but definitely a fire uniform. Number two, I'm going to go with the Houston Oilers. I really like that color scheme, that light blue and the red always pops. It's a classic one. And then number one, I'm going to agree with Mackie. I got the Seattle Seahawks. That picture of DK standing there with the new Seahawks jersey on looks super clean. I love the silver helmet, but Ace, that's a good point. I mean, my childhood watching these Seahawks when I hopped on the Russell Wilson bandwagon was the bright colors, the navy and the lime green, and watching them win the Super Bowl in those uniforms. But we'll have to see what Geno can do in these new ones or throwbacks, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, definitely a good list. Surprised to hear the Panthers added there. I know a lot of people are like talking up the Jets one. To me, that's nothing crazy, honestly. There's a few other good ones, but good list all around, I'd say.
The Kelly Greens are obviously nice, but there's no way I'm putting no Eagles in my top three.
That's the thing. It's so biased. None of us are Philly guys, but that Kelly Green has to be one of the best ones. Every ranking you see, it's perennial top three.
When I think of the Kelly Green, I think of Jimmy and his mugshot.
I think of picking Beal up from jail. Yeah, in his Reggie White jersey.
Yeah, I think of Randall Cunningham, though. I mean, one of the best running quarterbacks of all time. Kind of forgotten about because of all the new ones nowadays, but he was a great quarterback back in the day. He really set the groundwork for guys like Vic, Lamar, and now Fields and everybody else that's getting drafted. So Jalen Hurts brings back memories of that.
All right, and we will jump into the NHL. A couple quick points here, a couple of free agency, or one free agency point, and one other thing to touch on. We had Vladimir Tarasenko is signing a 1-year deal with the Ottawa Senators. It's a nice move for Ottawa, in my opinion. A nice young team, go out and get a veteran. I don't know, Mackie. Was there any say that there was a chance he stayed in New York? It was kind of writing on the wall. He was on his way out.
He costed too much, and for a good reason. He still deserves that type of money, but I think this is an awesome move for those Senators that are trying to get over the hump, and those Buffalo Sabres are getting just as good as well. So you got to keep up with them. Ace, you always like to chirp me about that take I had on the Senators last year, and maybe I was wrong about your Bruins, but this team is definitely on the up and up, and they could make some noise this year as well. Maybe I might have been a year early, but this team is definitely building around that core that they have.
They were definitely poised for success with the moves they made last year, but it's so weird to me. You go and get Alex DeBrincat, and then you ship him out the very next season. I thought that was a good piece to build around. I know they have a lot of youth. They have Pinto stepping up, Norris, all the other guys. You already know Kachuk, Giroux, the Chabot. Really scared about their goaltending. Honestly, I think in a stacked Atlantic, though, I think even with the Tarasenko move, they fall lower than you'd expect, in my opinion. I'd take the Sabres for sure and the Panthers, and then maybe even the Red Wings ahead of them.
Yeah, it's definitely a stacked Atlantic now, so they're just gearing up. I don't like that DeBrincat move at all either. I think that was pretty asinine, but maybe they see something that we don't. I don't know.
Yeah, that guy's bouncing around teams already so early in his NHL career, so that's kind of crazy. But yeah, Tarasenko, I mean, I feel like how many years was it again, Huff?
It's just a 1-year deal. I don't know how much the money is. I did see it somewhere. It's nothing crazy, but only a 1-year deal.
They need 4.5, I want to say.
They need that vet experience, so they don't have it on the team. Nobody on that team has really won anything or even been deep into the playoffs. So having a guy like him, obviously, and that could still contribute to a high level, pretty big player.
Honestly, this is just some speculation here, but we always talk about bringing a veteran presence, and that's right. But I feel like Tarasenko is one of those guys that just shows up, scores goals, and leaves. He doesn't really have an impact on the locker room. That's why you see him bouncing around now. Even when he was a superstar, very under the radar. I think his best years are behind him, but he'll have a good spot on a really good team.
You never know what goes on in those locker rooms. They say the same thing about Kawhi. You know what kind of player he is, though.
Yeah. The background makes it a little different for me too. I mean, of Russian descent, going to join a team with a lot of younger Canadian American guys.
All right, and another point in the NHL, as we know, Bruins legend Patrice Bergeron no longer with the team. However, the team must now fill their captain vacancy. Ace, who do you think is going to get the C out of this trio? Pasternak, Marchand, or Charlie McAvoy? I feel like from a non-Boston sports fan, I feel like most people would say they're going to go with I don't know. feel like I would give it to Pasternak. I feel like most people are going to say give it to Marshawn. He's been there the longest. He's been there. He's a part of this team. He's won the cups. But I'd give it to the superstar, the young superstar that's going to be there and fill seats and that just signed the huge contract, a year ago?
There's only one answer here, I think. Ace, let's hear it.
No, let me hear yours first, Mackie. Because honestly, this is a pressing topic in all of Boston media, even around the area. Like people I talk to, who's going to be the next captain? It's tough because we have such ties to these players. They've been here for a while, homegrown guys. It's like, oh, do you give it to the rising stars that are going to have it for a while and let them grow into the role and become a great leader? Do you give it to the guy who's earned it and he's actually still not that old? I don't know.
I think it's clearly Marchand here. I mean, the guy bleeds yellow and black, and he is the face of that team. Even though Pasternak is the best player on that team, same situation as giving like Taves the C over Kane. Kane was the face of that team as well, or he was the best player on that team as well. But Taves was the captain of that team. And if you look at this team, Brad Marchand is the tone setter. He is the guy who will go out and get gritty and do the things that Pasternak isn't going to do. Pasternak is your star guy who just everyone protects and he scores all the goals. But I mean, I don't even think Pasternak is expecting to get a C here. I think the good answer here is Brad Marchand. I don't even think Charlie McAvoy should be in the question for the C. But Ace, what do you think here?
That's hilarious because no, great takes, and I agree with you for sure. But personally, I would give it to McAvoy. The way he plays the game, the way that Brad Marchand and David Pasternak are caught up in other antics, they're not caught up with leading the team. If you watch the Bruins, Charlie McAvoy plays the most minutes night in and night out, plays a physical brand of hockey that you don't see in today's NHL, and he's one of the best American defensemen, one of the best defensemen in the world as it is. Great leader already with a young team. That's another thing I think about in the contract length of Marchand. How many more years is he going to be around? Do you want to just make it a rotating door? I don't really know. I feel like the easy answer, and I feel like they're going to end up giving it to Marchand to mesh that new group. But I personally would have liked Chucky to grab it, but we'll have to see. I mean, honestly, it could go any direction. With the money and superstar power that Pasternak has too, you can never count him out of the question.
But if you think about it, what a slap in the face to Marchand if you give it to Charlie McAvoy. Even when they gave it to Bergeron, didn't they make the joke that they were giving it to Marchand? And it's kind of like as a joke they were doing it because it was obviously going to Bergeron. I feel like it'd be the same thing if you gave it to somebody else. Marchand's getting slapped in the face.
Do you think, honestly, with just knowing the Bruins' personality, following this team and following Marchand literally since he was in Providence and hanging out in Rhode Island even, yeah, he's in line, but I feel like he's not the guy that wants that captaincy. I don't know if Pasta is either. They're not the most serious bunch. That's why they can do those jokes with Bergeron before. They all know maybe Marshy's not really that captain guy. He's got an A because you got to listen up when he talks, but I don't know if he's that true leader. So I don't know. It's just something to think about. A lot of different personalities between the three of them.
I'm pretty interested to see where that goes. Obviously, like I said, I think I'm glad Mackie actually came out and said it because that's exactly what I thought. Is most people are going to say you have to give it to Marchand. He's been there all these years, but I don't know. I think I'd probably lean Pasta, but it's tough to say. I feel like there's not really a wrong answer with those two, but I don't know. I don't know. Does McAvoy really have a chance for it? Do you think?
Yeah, for sure. The way he plays hockey too, like. Just versus Pasternak, look at him, goofy, just likes to score goals, doesn't really like to do much else, and his takes on any social media is kind of outlandish. He's not really like leading the team. He's just like a chill guy, having fun. And then you got Marchand, the little ball of hate. I mean, he's more worried about chirping, and maybe that's not the guy you want to give your C to, just personally.
You don't want your captain.
He's not chirp. I don't think he's chirping to chirp. He chirps in good situations to set a tone, change the pace of a game. That's exactly what a captain does.
He doesn't lead by example. I'm just saying the way that McAvoy plays the game on the ice compared to the other two, that's a leader by his play style, in my opinion. He's always that guy. Yeah, so
I don't think he's not a bad C. I just think that I would give it to him 3rd out of the 3.
Personally, with an original 6 franchise too, I don't want that revolving door of, okay, Marchand's got it for 2 years now, then who's it going to? I kind of want to groom someone and let them come into that role. You see a lot of young captains.
That was kind of my logic. Is how much longer is Marchand going to be there? Like, if you make him captain right now, what is it? 3 more years? Like,
yeah,
max?
3 or 4 more years.
I was going to say, how old is he? How many years do you guys think he has
probably
left?
32. Yeah. He probably has like 5 NHL years left at least, but he has 3 like elite years, I'd say.
Yeah, but you can still be a captain when you're not elite.
Yeah, I mean, we'll just see. I mean, with Marshawn, I mean, with Pasternak and McAvoy, they just signed those big deals. They're both there for 8 more years on the books. It'll be interesting to see. I'm excited. I feel like you can't go wrong in any direction.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think you can go wrong at all, but I just think it's a slap in the face to Marchand. But I don't know how he looks at the situation, so
Agreed.
gonna be interesting.
All right, we will shift things over to the MLB, where we will start off with our MLB power rankings for the week of July 31st. Was that Monday? July 31st? Yeah. Already in
Correct.
August as we move into the final 2 months of the MLB regular season, starting to shift towards playoffs and starting to shift towards who's going to lock up these divisions. Mackie, you want to go through our power rankings for this week?
A little bit of movement here this week. A little bit of movement.
Yeah, definitely. We're seeing a new face in here. So we got the Atlanta Braves, obviously coming in at number one, most dominant team of the decade, in my opinion. Baltimore Orioles playing incredible baseball, coming in at two. Rays down at three, up from the fourth spot from last week. Even though they're kind of staggered at that spot, they're playing some good baseball still. Dodgers coming in at four, and the Toronto Blue Jays, the new face, at coming in at five, edging out teams like the Astros, the Reds, Rangers. So they get the edge there. What do you guys think about this?
I was
Astros
pissed
will
that
be
my
the
Astros
ace. Go
got
ahead.
snubbed. I was pissed. I've been wanting them in the top five for so long, but it's a righteous wait, right? Because Jordan and Altuve, they just came back and they're already mashing. And then you got Verlander, which we're going to touch on. I mean, this team's getting healthy and they're getting good and they're bringing in better faces. That's not a team you want to see come playoff time.
They're getting hot too. I mean, if they keep it up, I can see that. I can't see them not being in it next week. Um, they're right there. They're knocking on the door. But I couldn't. I'm not. I also don't really love the Astros. I've said it multiple times. I'm not too high on them this year. But getting Verlander, getting Jordan back, getting Jose Altuve back, teams coming back together and they're coming back into a championship aspect. So, um,
that pitching staff
they
nowadays too. I was talking to you about the guy
It's
JP France. He's come onto the scene. He throws 7 innings and allows less than 2 every week. And then you have Framber Valdez
Framber,
dropping the no.
Javier.
no.
Verlander back. You have Hunter Brown, the rookie. I mean, the list goes on and on. That team's loaded. They're primed for a run. But the crazy thing is, let's not take away from the fact of the team that's leading the division, who's not in our top five, the Texas Rangers. They just added to their team pretty heavily too. And they just keep winning. I hit them both on the run line yesterday. Parlayed that one. That was nice. But
That's also why I didn't. It's also why I didn't really want to throw the Astros in there because I didn't think the Rangers deserved it. But you're not. They're still sitting behind them in the division, and it's not even like they're coming up from like a 10-game lead that they had. I mean, I guess in the beginning of the season they had a bit of a better lead, but they're both playing pretty staggered baseball right now. So it's some of the same baseball. So I didn't want to put the Astros ahead of them just yet. I think they take over the division in the next few days. So we're having a different conversation next week probably, but yeah, those Astros are getting really good, and we know what they can do when they get dangerous.
Absolutely.
Huff, you've been high on those Blue Jays that just got in. If you want to touch on them real quick.
Yeah, I was riding them that past week, so I was definitely profitable on that. That series against the Dodgers, I think I took them 2 out of the 3 games. And I think they ended up losing one that I didn't take, so I was I made out pretty good. They were pretty heavy underdogs out there. I think the one I got them first 5 plus 175. I loved that, and it was the game they ended up just. I think they wiped them like 8-1 or something. It got kind of out of hand. I think the Dodgers ended up coming back towards later on in the game, but I'm right there with you. I think these Astros, we got to get these Astros in here. I think next week we're going to be seeing them. I got a future on them to win the AL Ace. I know you got them to win the World Series. So I actually ended up taking them last week to win the division plus 110 on DraftKings. So I'm kind of all over this Astros team. I have 2 futures on them. I'm really hoping to see them take over this division from the Texas Rangers and seeing 2 of Mackey's aces go 1 to each team in the division. It's going to be interesting to see how this thing comes down to it.
Yeah, it's funny to see teams like the Diamondbacks really slipping out. The Giants are sitting in the playoff spot, and then one team that's going to be kind of lurking and just in the Braves' shadow is those Phillies. I know I've been quiet on them a little bit lately, but I've been high on them all year. That's a great team. They just added Michael Lorenzen too, so I mean I think they're going to make a run, and that's a team you don't want to see in the NL. I mean, imagine you get the Phillies and the Braves in an early round matchup. That's not something the Braves want.
If I'm the Braves, I'm not scared of anything.
Didn't they take them out last year?
Yeah, but I think this Braves team is different this year.
Valid. I mean, the pitching might skew towards the Phillies in a series.
No, no way. No way.
I don't know.
It
How do you stack up 1 through 3?
I also am not a big fan of Aaron Nola, so I'd go Zach Wheeler 1, Aaron Nola probably 2, and then you go Ranger at 3.
No, they just brought
For
in
the
Lorenzen
Phillies.
though.
I don't think you put him in the top 3. Strider just tops them all off right over on the other side. Brett Elder's been a little worse these past few days. You obviously have Charlie Morton as well. I don't know. Braves have options, man. Phillies really don't.
I obviously lean the Braves, but for a team that
Is it Bryce? I thought it was Brett.
yeah, no, Bryce Elder, he's kind of faltered a bit as of late, but he's a solid pitcher. And you're not wrong. I mean, the Braves are the clear-cut favorite. I'm just trying to give. If you see someone in the playoffs, I don't think you want to see a divisional foe that's seen you a lot throughout the year. They just beat you last year. That's a narrative in your head too. So I know that the Braves are heavily favored, but I'd rather see the Giants or the D-backs or the Reds if I'm Atlanta.
Oh yeah.
These Phillies also got to get into the playoffs. I mean, they have a game on the Brewers right now who have the final wild card spot, but that's a tight race down there. The Marlins, Cubs are getting hot. You know, like we've said from the beginning of the season what that Cubs team can do. So, we'll see. It's a tough stretch down the end of the season.
Imagine that San Diego team can catch fire at some point too. I mean, we're all waiting for it. I feel like so much star power.
They're on a heater right now, I think.
Yeah, they keep that rolling. They've won. I feel like they've won like 4 of their last 5 at least. But they're I know they're a little ways
5
out.
of their
but
last 6.
if they can get back into it, that's another team you don't want to see just because of the talent they have. And they just made some moves at the deadline as well, but I think we're going to jump into some of those moves here. Red Huff.
Yeah, right before we get into some of these trade deadline stuff, we got some more Otani news. The guy's in the news every week. We talk about him every week, how electrifying he is. On a doubleheader last week against the Detroit Tigers on Thursday, Otani came to play in his first start on the mound, came to play in his first start on the mound since being removed from the trade block. Otani pitched a complete game in Game 1 of the doubleheader in a 6-0 win. Otani then went for 2 home runs in Game 2 of the doubleheader, leading the Angels to an 11-4 Game 2 victory. Otani continues to impress. Can these Angels make a push for an AL wildcard spot?
Yes.
No.
I've been saying it for a while. I feel like if you're going to keep Shohei Ohtani, which you should be trying to do if you're in the Major League Baseball, then you're going to go out and buy at the deadline. They did that. And then you're going to go on a run. They've done that to put themselves in the conversation. And then you're going to finish it and get to the playoffs. You have to at least win a playoff series, in my opinion. And if they have any hopes, and the guys around them that are going to be there for years on these contracts, they're going to be playing better baseball just because of what Otani's doing as well. He's getting the Barry Bonds treatment right now.
I disagree. I mean, we've seen what this Angels team has done around Otani for the last 2 years, and it's been absolutely nothing outside of Mike Trout. It's the reason that they haven't been good. Last year, they started the season like 27-12, and then it ended 15 games under 500. They're sitting in a tough spot right now. You have the Rays, Astros, and Blue Jays that are sitting in those wild card spots right now, and even your Red Sox are right outside of there. So I don't see them even hopping the Red Sox in the first place, and I think the Mariners are even going to hop them, who are tied with them right now. So, I mean, there's a lot of teams over there that are better than the Angels, in my opinion, and I just don't think they're going to get over that hump just because they have the best player in the world. Baseball is not like that.
No, I agree. I don't think they get in, but I think they have a chance to get in. I think they might push at the end of the season too, especially with the way Otani plays. I mean, he pitches too. He's gonna get on. They're gonna get on the ride and see if they can make the push. But I think that AL East is gonna beat itself up a little bit as well. So might see some of them falter. But with the Astros and Rangers, one of them occupying one of the wild card spots, it will be tough.
Those Yankees are just dead in the water, though.
I wish you could just kill that AL Central, to be honest.
They should do it like the NBA and just have the top 7 teams or whatever they have, 8 teams.
Yeah, right. That'd be much more interesting. But hey, you never know. Those Twins, I got them on the card tonight. They can win when they're good.
Remember we had them as a top 5 team in the MLB?
They should be with their staff, though. Like, look at their pitching staff. It's actually disgusting.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like every time I take them, they'll be up like 3-1, and then their bullpen blows a game. I feel like every time I take them.
Duran and the rest of the staff in the back end is what kills them. But with Pablo Lopez, Joe Ryan, Kenta Maeda, I think they have a few other good guys as well. I mean, it's a good Bailey Ober, I believe. It's a good staff.
Yeah. I thought it was Bradley Ober. It might be Bailey.
Yeah, but
you know baseball names more than me.
Yeah, Byron Buxton's the one that's cost him though. His injuries and light season has
He's
not
not
been
playing
something.
tonight. I have him in fantasy.
Yeah.
He plays like 1 out of every 4 days.
Yeah, it's crazy. He's such a big prospect with a great tool set, but he can't put it together for some reason. Injuries hold him back.
And isn't what's his name? Gallows there, right?
Yeah, Gallo's batting like 180 over there.
I was gonna say, like,
Yeah, he's terrible.
they have pieces that their names that they pay don't ever do anything.
Carlos Correa. No, he's on
Another guy.
Tigers.
Haven't heard. Is he? I was gonna say I haven't heard his name in 2 years.
Is he on the Twins or the Tigers? Either way, he's underperforming.
No, Baez is on the Tigers. Correa's on the Twins.
That's what it
Those
is.
players are very, very much the same person, though. They're underachieving players who are overpaid because of 1 year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I wouldn't say
yeah.
say 1 year, but they had a few good years, got paid, and they stopped practicing.
They're not the centerpiece of a team. You put them with no protection around them in the lineup, and they can't produce.
I just googled Carlos Correa, and it says this is what it says his name is: Carlos Javier Correa Oppenheimer Jr.
Oppenheimer.
He must have seen the movie early on.
Must drop the bombs. That was corny as fuck, Dave.
Yeah, that was tough, Mackie. All right. All right, here we go. Getting into some of these trade deadline moves. My Pittsburgh Pirates had a couple of sells as usual, trading first baseman Carlos Santana to the division rival Milwaukee Brewers in exchange for shortstop prospect Johnny Severino. The Pirates then sent first baseman G-Man Choi and pitcher Rich Hill to San Diego for 3 prospects. I was cool with all 3 of these moves. Santana, he just decided to finally start playing baseball for us a couple weeks ago. At least got some kind of offer for him. I don't know. There was kind of rumors that we weren't going to get much for him. And I mean, 1 prospect, I don't know anything about this guy, but G-Man Choi, same thing. I think he played 25 games here. And Rich Hill, he's 43 years old. We were not going to the playoffs, so you knew he was on his way out. So same thing, same situation every year with the Pirates at the trade deadline. Just kind of get the expectations up throughout June and July, and then sell in August. But we'll see what ends up coming of this. Like I said, these 3 guys I don't think are any part of our future in any sort of way.
No, and you know what's crazy to me is that this was being presented as big time news. I'm like, I mean, this is a great move for the Pirates. They're getting free picks for guys that don't matter, but these pieces aren't even going to do much. Rich Hill will help the most out of all of them, but the other guys are just bench players.
I was gonna say, I think Choi's gonna go there. Maybe bat. Like, I don't know. He did nothing for us. He's always hurt.
Yeah, and look at the guys you have coming up. You're a young team. Those guys aren't a part of the future. Get them out. Bring in the assets. Why not?
That's why when they signed Choi this year, I was so confused because then they brought in Santana. It was like, what do we need 2 big first basemen for? Like, that you're paying all this. I mean, they're not paying a lot for him. Pirates don't pay anyone a lot, but yeah. So Pirates moving on from a couple guys. Like I said, I agree with that, Ace. Get rid of the guys that aren't going to be around for the foreseeable future, at least.
Thank God they're not. Huff, I was just gonna say, thank God they're not getting rid of the young guys like they did before. I know that was in free agency.
I was gonna say, usually we were the ones that we trade all the young prospects. Now we're like, yeah, you can have Rich Hill for a playoff run. Have fun.
Yeah, like enjoy that.
Yeah,
Rich Hill's just
Dick Mountain's falling off a cliff this year. I'll tell you that.
Will he be a starter there? Or are they gonna put him? Like, what are they gonna do?
No, well, he might start in the regular season, but if they make it to the playoffs,
start long relief.
Yeah, he's coming out of the bullpen in the 6th, 7th inning.
I was gonna say he'll be a 6th, 7th inning guy.
I don't think that. I think he's the type of guy that comes in when one of your middling starters has a tough start, and you're like, we're gonna turn the page quick because these playoff series are pretty short. We're gonna give the ball to Rich Hill, who can get us from 2 to 5, 2 to 6, without a worry.
Trusting him for 4 innings is tough, man.
Not even that, Mackie. You know, these back-to-back series. If you're getting blown out early in a series, if you can get in, right? And you can just hand the ball over to Rich Hill to eat innings, you save your bullpen for the rest of the series.
Yeah, big time. That's what they're thinking here, but I don't think the Padres get in anyway.
Yeah, cheap buy, but yeah, I don't know if I'd be going after him, but
the only thing I saw was one of the prospects we got back, Jackson Wolf, is a West Virginia alumni, so I always love that.
Yeah, bring him back home to that same mid-Atlantic area.
Yeah, same area. Right up the Mon. All right. And a couple of the trades that we already touched on, the New York Mets have officially entered a fire sale, trading both Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander before Tuesday's trade deadline. Scherzer was sent to the Texas Rangers, and Verlander is headed back to Houston, where he won the World Series in 2019. They also dealt Tommy Pham to the Arizona Diamondbacks as they embrace a full rebuild. Mackie, I heard something Cohen said. We're looking for 25, 26. 25 is a little early, but 26 is more realistic.
Yeah, see, he didn't say that. Scherzer fucking said that. He went to a press conference on the Rangers and aired out everything that happened in a private meeting. So Scherzer can go fuck himself with his 4.01 ERA getting paid $43 million. What a scumbag, man. I hate him. I actually do hate him. He's not even that good. He had a terrible season this year. You pay the man $43 million and he puts up a 4 ERA. You got minimums, rookie minimums that are putting up way better than that. And then he's going to go to the Rangers he's going to go to the Rangers and I hope he shits the bed. But whatever. It's whatever. I don't hate that we just did all this because realistically we weren't getting into the playoffs anyway. If you guys were watching that game last night, it's a story of the entire season. I don't think Cohen's wrong for what he did. And if you heard about Francisco Lindor's press conference, he's all in on it. He said he came here to win, and if they're not going to win this year, buy and just rebuild for the next year or two. I mean, you have the core to build around. These two pitchers that you're getting rid of, they're 40 years old, and you're paying them $43 million. So by the time you're actually going to get to be competitors again, they're going to be too old to even make that much of a difference anyway. So I like it. We're getting prospects. I can't complain. I really can't complain about this, and we'll see if it works out. For the Mets, so it probably won't work out. But I just don't like what Scherzer did. You're airing out some business that you just have no business doing.
Honestly, I love the fact that they were so quick to pull the plug. You're right; those guys are aging veterans, and they need to be on a win now team. Regardless of your hate towards Max Scherzer, pretty scummy thing to do. We all know we're going to be watching him in the playoffs. He's going to be towing the rubber in Game 1. Of whatever series we see him in. I think you give it to him over Evaldi just because of his success. However, I mean, I like the other moves. Tommy Pham, Mark Conha, David Robertson. Those guys are all parts of winning teams, but that's elsewhere. Let's pull the plug on this and really reset it. You have a lot of guys already that are up making their rookie debuts this year that hopefully can pan out. Guys like Brett Beatty kind of letting you down, but you've restocked the system. I mean, letting you down, I expected more from him early on, but more of a platoon.
He's young. Let him get into it.
That's what I'm saying.
He's not.
I like that they're retooled their farm system and they're giving these guys some time to work out the kinks now. But they threw in the towel pretty freaking quick. I just remember 6 months ago we were talking about, is this team a World Series contender? 2 months ago we were talking about, is it them or the Phillies getting back in the playoff race? And now are the Mets getting the number 1 pick?
They just never got there. The team never came together. There had to be something deeper than what we could see, because obviously that roster is what it is. But I like all those moves except for David Robertson. I don't really like dealing him, but we're just looking towards the future now. At this point, there's nothing else to it.
Yeah, he's not even your long-term closer. He was just a stopgap with Diaz out for the year. Who really gave that team life coming in. But I like the moves by the Astros. We touched on that before to get Verlander. I like the move by the Rangers to match it with Scherzer. I think Scherzer went first, though, I believe. Yeah. But that's crazy how they go head to head now. I mean, the Mets definitely dealt them knowing that, too. So that'll be some good TV. Thank you, New York, for that.
But if we do remember, Ace, you're talking about Scherzer getting that Game 1 when they do get in, the Rangers do get into the playoffs. Remember what happened last year when he got Game 1 against San Diego? Got lit up in Game 1, and then they had to go to the ground for Game 2, who they wanted to save for the first round after the wild card, but they couldn't. They had to go send him in Game 2, and he did win that game because DeGrom's actually a good pitcher. But Scherzer, you're gonna give him the spot, and he's probably gonna get lit up again because that's what he's been doing all year. So we'll see what the Rangers do. I think
if you're the Texas Rangers, you haven't been around, you haven't been relevant in this long. You go and get a name like Max Scherzer. That's a good move, especially for a team looking to get over the hump. We talked about last week who's going to go get that guy. The Rangers and Astros both went and got that guy. Like, those are two of the biggest names in baseball you could have gotten at the deadline.
Yeah, you're going to give the game to Scherzer because it's Scherzer and you just went out and got him. But I think you're better off giving it to a vet that's been there and the team trusts and
Evaldi.
The team knows.
He's brand new too.
Yeah, probably.
But he's a playoff performer.
Ace.
Yeah.
Wander Franco, 2-run shot, top of the first, no one out.
Oh, let's go. Those Rays at plus money every night now, and those Yankees so overrated. And I hate Garrett Cole. That guy stinks.
I just can't. He's the one guy I can't bet against.
He just gives up home runs, man. He gives up home runs.
He truly does. The faster they come in, the faster they come off the bat. If you hit it, it's gone.
Ask Rafael Devers. I say it all the time.
Watch, he's going to give up 2 runs in 7 innings, but the game's going to be 2-0 after 7 innings.
I was going to say the Yankees.
Well, McClanahan on the other side too. That's a good matchup.
That's what I'm saying. That's what we said. The Yankees won't score. This could be the final score, like 3-0 Rays.
Hmm. I mean,
Ace,
the
those Red
Rays,
Sox fell apart today, man. It was a big
yeah,
game.
West Coast trip. I mean, it was Cutter Crawford day though. This was the one game of the series you didn't see me put him on the card. So, I mean, I didn't expect much with him on the mound, but it was really the bullpen that blew it. He had a good outing, 5 innings pitched,
Yeah.
5 Ks. But
3-0.
Yeah.
They just blew it up.
You got to be able to hold that. But I think after back-to-back games that went to extra innings, that bullpen's pretty beat up, especially on the West Coast trip. But Red Sox team is going to be, if they play better than 500 baseball the rest of the way, I'd be surprised. But get a lot of healthy guys coming back soon, which will be nice.
Absolutely. And a couple of the other moves, a team that we talked about maybe needing to go out and get another arm was the Baltimore Orioles. They did just that, trading for St. Louis Cardinals starting pitcher Jack Flaherty. And some of the other teams that bolstered up at the deadline include the Marlins, Phillies, Padres, Angels. Overall, who would you say are the winners or the biggest winners and losers of this year's deadline?
You gotta say the Astros are up there for the winners. I don't know, Ace. Let me hear.
I know you don't like those Angels, and I agree with the take you had about them making the playoffs earlier, but for making moves, they got Lucas Giolito, Reynaldo Lopez, and CJ Cron, Randall Grichuk. I mean, those are good pieces to add in. No, I think Grichuk went to the Marlins, actually, but CJ Cron as well.
How good do you think those pieces really are? They're just going to make a mediocre team a little less mediocre.
I mean,
Giolito,
CJ Cron. Giolito's probably the third best pitcher that was dealt at the deadline.
Behind Scherzer and Verlander?
Yeah.
I don't think, I mean,
those are big names. He's a bad year. No, bad year, but like, you know how pitchers can be. He's not that old. He's had great years previously. I think that's a good guy to add for the future personally too. If you're gonna lose Ohtani, you might as well get Giolito. But yeah, CJ Cron's like one of the few 3 hitters that's been sent around. I liked what the Marlins did. They made those low key moves where they bring in Josh Bell. They brought in Jake Burger from the White Sox, and they brought in David Robertson.
They just went out and got hitting.
Yeah, they got middle of the lineup because they have guys like Luis Arias that get on base every time. They have Jazz Chisholm back. Jorge Soler's the only power bat really in there. So you add some more protection around them. It's going to be kind of a deadly lineup down there in Miami. Yeah,
that's a good point. When you say all those names, I didn't realize that is going to be a pretty impressive lineup.
Yeah, I mean, those were guys that were being underutilized on the teams they were at. So I think they'll hit for power down there, especially in the NL. Gotta like what the Dodgers did too. I mean, if they can add anything, it's a good deadline for them. But they grabbed a bunch of pitching, some utility guys for the bench. I mean, they know what it takes to win, and they find the right pieces. And they did it yet again, in my opinion.
And here we'll get right into this. An interesting deadline development saw veteran hurler Eduardo Erod Rodriguez utilize his no trade clause as he deferred going to the LA Dodgers. He went on to cruise to his 7th win in a dominant performance earlier today against my Pirates. So not wanting to go to the Dodgers from the Detroit Tigers, pretty interesting development there that you think most people would want to go win. Ace, you said, I guess this guy doesn't want to pitch past September. I can't think of many reasons he wouldn't want to go from Detroit to LA.
I found one thing after I did some research on this. I was like, what's a possible narrative? I saw people saying, oh, it's because the Dodgers took him deep in the World Series that the Red Sox beat him and they pitched. I'm like, that's a terrible take. It's actually, in my opinion, he's on a contract year, and he left Boston to get the bag from a bad Detroit team. He's going to pitch in the worst division in baseball, rack up those stats, continue a strong year instead of being in the spotlight of LA. And then he's going to get the bag this offseason again. I mean, I understand that point of view, and he's the guy out there in Detroit right now.
Yeah, I mean, that is a good point. I didn't really think about that because he'll probably just sign with another ass team for way too much money.
Or someone even like the Dodgers. Someone's going to overpay him because he's pitching well. I mean, the stats don't lie, and he passes the eye test as well. But imagine you go out to LA, you got to play like all those teams like the Padres, the Diamondbacks, the Giants. Not only that, you're in the spotlight a lot, and you're in a playoff push. You can only hurt your stock, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's in a shitty division, just racking up stats right now.
Yeah, I mean, the AL Central, I mean, where else would you want to pitch right now?
Exactly. And last night we had Framber Valdez throw a no-hitter on Tuesday in a 2-0 victory against the Cleveland Guardians. He faced the minimum 27 batters and threw the fewest pitches of all time
Yeah, he had one walk, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was one walk because they had
They
I
spin
forget
the
who
double
it
play.
was.
They had to have
Yeah,
or
that's
thrown out at second or
crazy.
something.
The 27
It
batters.
sucks,
He
man.
did it with the fewest pitchers in the modern day baseball as well. That's pretty crazy. I mean, he's efficient and night in, night out, but he doesn't have great stuff either. He's just, like I said, efficient pitcher, and a no from that. He's pitched to contact well.
He's really good. I try to be on the Astros every time he pitches, and his last start I got burnt and I made up for it last night.
I take the Astros probably the most out of all of us. I just think that's such a good team. And now that, like I said, they're healthy now. That lineup, you have Kyle Tucker's playing great baseball. We don't talk about him enough, but they have him. They have Altuve and Jordan, like we always say. They have that young shortstop from Rhode Island. Can't think of his name right now, but they've good guys all throughout the lineup.
Who,
And that
Pena?
pitching staff even deeper. Yeah, Jerry Pena, Rhode Island guy. But yeah, Framber Valdez is the 3, right? He's the
It's
3 on
crazy,
this staff.
dude. It's insane. Just that pitching staff. Him, Javier. You said it, JP France. Now they got Verlander back. Like,
Hunter Brown.
Hunter Brown. Yeah, that starting five is gross. And then you look at the bullpen, it just
You
gets even
got it.
better.
Presley's
cut it
pitching
down
well
to-
too.
You gotta cut it down in the playoffs. So who are you giving the 1, 2, and 3 to?
JP France, the young guy, he's been a reliever before in his career. But he comes out
Framber
of
is
the
in
pen.
that top 3 for sure.
He's
Yeah,
left-handed
you
too, which
probably go
helps.
Verlander, Framber, and you go Javier. I'd go.
Is Javier left-handed?
No, he's a big righty.
Oh
I
yeah,
think
that's
so.
what I'm saying. It's gonna be it's Framber's the only lefty. He'll get that second start, and then I bet you go with Hunter Brown towards the end, just because he's like the higher pedigree starter over France. Even though France goes 7 innings every week and gives up less than 2. That's crazy to me. But he doesn't have the strikeout totals. The mustache will be out there in the playoffs, though. Mustache goggles, come on.
Now a message from a partnering podcast.
Farty! Farty, come here, boy! Farty! Hey! Oh, what? Are you trying to tell me something, boy? What? The Black Lincoln Collective Podcast? What? BLCpodcast.com? And Twitter? And YouTube? Farty! Thank you so much! Good boy. Good boy, Farty.
And another star pitcher coming back. The Toronto Blue Jays got a boost as Hyunjin Ryuk made his first start in over 14 months. Can this team get into postseason play? A team that we saw slide into our top 5 of our power rankings this week. A team that I said I was on the past couple of weeks. I did take them last night. I got burnt. Or no, not last night, 2 days ago against the Orioles. I like them. But this Orioles team, they're coming into Toronto looking for vengeance tonight. I do like the Blue Jays to not get swept tonight with Kikuchi on the mound. But last night, Ryu got, what was the score? I think I saw he gave up 3 earned runs or 4 earned runs in the first couple innings, and people were saying
13-3 final score.
He waited 14 months to come back and give up all those runs. It was just like not a good situation. But I don't know. I think he'll get back to it. Maybe not his old self, but I think that's a tough look for your first start back.
Yeah, I think he'll turn around. It's just another left-handed arm.
We said, we like this
That's
Blue
that
Jays team.
stat.
Put them in our top 5.
I think I just lagged there a bit, but
Yeah,
I was
you
just gonna say another left-handed arm to add to that staff that's already pretty prolific. Can never be mad about that. He'll get into form. He hasn't played in so long, but he's a good pitcher. World Series ring, I believe, or maybe just missed one. But he got that bag in Toronto right when he left LA.
I thought he got one with the Dodgers.
Yeah, I can't remember if they won or lost when he was with them.
Yeah. Huh. I guess we'll never know.
He lost his spot to Julio Urias. I know that, and ever since then, Urias ran with it.
Yeah. And we'll head down to Atlanta, where Spencer Strider just broke his own record for the fastest pitcher to 200 strikeouts in a season.
This guy is unbelievable, dude. He's just pure strikeout pitcher. This guy, all he does is strike people out. It's pretty cool. I think he blew 2 by Ohtani the other night or last night. So, even he's doing it against the best as well. So that's pretty cool.
Dude, the craziest part is his over-under for Ks every night is set at like 9.5, 10. Like it's never like the average pitcher where they're getting the 6.5, 7 number. He's always 9.5, almost 10.
And who's taking that realistically?
Not me, but I'll take them.
Yeah.
You guys, I haven't been taking it as of late, but take the Braves minus 1.5, and that's all you need to do.
Yeah. I'm sticking to when I sent that last week. I'm taking it every day and I'm just gonna see what happens.
Put up 11 runs. I mean, it's going to be pretty hard to lose.
12. They
Well,
scored. I think they got one in the 8th. Yeah, they hit a home run in the 8th. All right. I think that is going to do it for our baseball coverage of this week. Stay tuned next week for our power rankings and everything else, as we said, and as we wind down to the 2023 MLB playoffs at the end of September. We will get into the NFL, where we have football this week. How long have we been waiting to say that? Might
Let's
not be
go.
regular season. It's a little bit of preseason, but get used to football on Thursday nights again, as the Pro Football Hall of Fame game takes place Thursday night at 8 p.m. between the New York Jets and the Cleveland Browns. I will not be betting on this, so I am not going to go over a line and give you an opinion on this. I know Zach Wilson is starting. Aaron Rodgers won't be playing. I don't know exactly who's going for the Browns ace. I don't know if you know anything more about this, but I personally won't be betting on this or most preseason games this year. So if you want to jump in and give an opinion on this, I know Mackie said the same thing, but obviously my takeaway from this is football is back.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just hyped to get the game out there, and this will be a fun one to watch. Two teams with high expectations. Hopefully, we get to see some guys that are fighting for roster spots. But yeah, not too much in the know of what's going to go down. But I know it's never a bad bet to take the under here in these games. Not a lot of points are flying off the board, and it actually flies by pretty quick for the first football game of the year. But I know I'll be tuning in at points. I don't know if I'll watch the whole thing, but I'll catch some of it, and hopefully, we get some good highlights out of it.
Yeah. Over under set at 33.5, and as of right now, the Jets are a 1.5 point favorite, a -125 money line. Ace, I think it's a pretty good point. If I were to take anything on this, it would be the under, but yeah, I'm gonna stay away for the unknown.
Yeah, definitely might be a live bet type thing if I find the under really being low.
Like if someone scores a touchdown on the first drive and it goes to like 42, that yeah, I'd take that.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. And next, obviously, with training camp starting up last week and with football season coming back, that means we are going to have some unfortunate training camp injuries. Miami Dolphins cornerback Jalen Ramsey is expected to miss 6 to 8 weeks after suffering a meniscus injury that will require surgery. And the next one is the big one that we've all been talking about. Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow suffered a non-contact calf injury to his right leg at training camp Thursday. Burrow was carted off the field. So two of the bigger injuries. Jalen Ramsey, first year in Miami. We were all excited to see what he adds to that already elite team and defense. But the public Super Bowl pick is the Cincinnati Bengals, and Joe Burrow just went down with a calf injury. He's had the leg issues in the past. I'm not sure if it was his right leg or right ankle last time when he had the issues, but I don't know. I feel like it's the second or third time we're hearing about Joe Burrow with a calf injury, and not a good look whenever he's hopping off the field at training camp.
Yeah, you know what TJ Watt's doing out there in Pittsburgh right now? He's practicing hitting that exact spot, so that when it comes
Doing
time,
calf raises. That's what he's doing.
Get Joe Burrow out of the pocket and out of the game, maybe. You hate to see it, though. I
Yeah,
mean,
that
he's
sucks, man.
consensus number 2 quarterback in the NFL, and primed for a big season, looking to make that leap, maybe get his first ever ring. And tough start for it. Might put them a bit behind schedule in a tough division. You got those pesky Steelers that hate to have losing seasons. The Browns have high expectations. They have Lamar Jackson with a fully loaded Ravens team as well.
Am I wrong? Did he get hurt last year in training camp?
Oh,
Burrow.
no, he didn't. But if you guys do remember, the Bengals started 0-2 last year, and they came back and ended up like a 12-5, whatever their record was. So a slow start to them isn't really the worst thing in the world. We've seen it before. And like you said, they have the second best quarterback in the league. So if anyone's going to bounce back from it, it is going to be this guy, aside from Pat Mahomes, obviously. I wouldn't get too worried. I think even if he misses a game or two in the regular season, the Bengals will be fine. They'll see themselves in the playoffs. That's all they got to do is get to the playoffs, and they can pretty much beat anybody.
This could be a nagging injury for these Bengals fans. I'd be
Those
worried.
There's hope, don't they?
Maybe.
Lucky for him, he's a pocket passer, so he'll be able to get back to form sooner rather than later.
I was going to say, yeah, he's not trying to break anyone's ankles out there. So, and then amidst the crazy NFL running back market, superstar Jonathan Taylor has officially requested a trade from the Indianapolis Colts. Who do we see going after and landing this expensive running back, or do we see him staying put in Indy? Some interesting comments made by Jim Irsay at training camp. I don't know if you guys heard this. He goes, if I die and Jonathan Taylor's out of the league, no one will remember either of us. Tough situation. You never want to hear that from your boss or your owner or whatever it is in the workplace in the NFL. I don't know if I'd ever want to hear someone say that about me. It's pretty tough thing to say. But if I'm Jonathan Taylor, I'm trying to find the fastest way out of Indianapolis as possible.
What an absolutely crazy remark! And if you've seen a picture of Jim Irsay recently, he looks like he's about to croak any day. So
he looks like he just sits in his house and does coke and meth all day. Like he looks like he has serious drug problems.
Maybe that has something to do with it. But then again, Jonathan Taylor asked for $16 million in the midst of this running back lockout that might go on soon. So that was pretty crazy for him as well.
After a shit year.
Well, he was injured, but
everybody's injured when they're playing bad.
You're not coming off of like the best year of your life, and you come out and you want $16 million when Saquon Barkley just signed for 11, and you know what's going on with these running backs right now. I don't think he's going to play for the Colts after all this, but I don't think any team is going to give him $16 million right now. I mean, I think the entire NFL is agreed on not paying their running backs an absurd amount of money.
I personally just don't think Jonathan Taylor is the guy to go out and get $16 million. Like if you were to tell me one of these running backs,
he's worth it more than those other guys. He's younger.
He had one good year, and it was 2 years ago.
Saquon had too many injuries.
You say Saquon's too old?
Too old, too many injuries, in my opinion.
I'm pretty sure they're the same exact age.
Saquon and Taylor, really?
That's what's wrong with the running back market. You play 3 years good and you're hurt and overused.
Yeah, well, he didn't play 3 years good. He played 1 year good.
Saquon's been injured multiple times though, even dating back to college.
I also feel like a lot of Saquon, like he's had the season-ending the knee injury or the ankle injury. I forget what it was, but there were certain times Saquon's rookie and second year, I feel like he was just sitting out games because it was the Giants and that team was in a tough spot.
Yeah, maybe you're right, but yeah, it is tough. I mean, if I'm an NFL GM, I'm not paying any of them.
Like, I'm not giving McCaffrey.
The only one I'm paying
million.
is Bijan Robinson. That's why you're signing him with that first round pick.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I was going to say, like, McCaffrey's not going to get that money. He $16 million. He can't even give you 16 games a year.
Do you remember last year, though, when Jonathan Taylor was out? Who was the bum that came off the bench after they traded Nyheim Hines and he rushed for over 100 and had a few touchdowns?
Was it Marlon Mack?
No, it wasn't. It was somebody I'd never heard of. I got to look it up.
Oh, I know. Oh, my God. Yeah, this is going to drive me nuts.
Colts running backs, 2022. He was a no-name guy. Deion Jackson.
Yeah. I would have never guessed that.
No.
Yeah, I would have never guessed that.
Do you remember that, though? I think it was when he started being a late game scratch a lot, Taylor, and Deion Jackson, let's see. He had a game where he rushed. It might have been someone else even. Who's their schedule? Let's see.
AC, we're right, by the way. Jonathan Taylor has 2 years on Saquon.
Yeah.
Ace, while he looked this
up.
Which is important. I saw someone say,
2 years is a lot.
Yeah, it is, especially as a running back. I saw someone say, it was like a meme of Anthony Richardson at a press conference, and it was like, so what position are you going to play this year? And he goes, quarterback, running back, fullback, wide receiver. Just basically him playing every position.
He is an athlete too.
I'm sure they'd be happy with just 11 Anthony Richardsons on both sides of the ball. Doesn't matter, even off an offensive line, he still can't catch him.
Yeah, but if I'm an up-and-coming player, say I'm like 15, 16 years old, fresh in high school, the last thing I want to be right now is a running back. You know that the market's just, for your future, it's just not looking good. When you're that young and you're that athletic and you have the chance to go to a different position, I'm doing it. Know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, and another offseason injury that we've had at training camp. Broncos wide receiver Tim Patrick tore his Achilles at training camp this past week. This is the second straight year that Tim Patrick has suffered a season-ending injury in training camp. Last year, tearing his ACL. I was really excited for him to get back with this new Broncos team with Sean Payton and Russ and see what he's able to do. Still not having played a game with him, but looking like we're going to have to wait another year on that. Then for the first time, the NFL will air a Super Bowl alternate telecast this season. CBS and Nickelodeon are teaming up to offer you Super Bowl 58 Slimecast tailored for the kids. So obviously we've all seen the Nickelodeon broadcast of the wildcard games that we get every year. We are finally going to get it for the Super Bowl. I think for the Super Bowl, I'm still going to stick to the original broadcast, the wild card one. It's fun to flick to every once in a while, but I don't know. The Super Bowl's the Super Bowl. I need my guys on there.
You sure you don't want to watch SpongeBob run across the screen?
I can't have Patrick Starr calling and Patrick Mahomes touchdown. Like I can't.
It's just
That's
AI
crazy,
shit, man.
though.
It's crazy.
They really did it for the Super Bowl. I mean, I guess you're gonna get the kids to catch it at a younger age now too. And
I kind of said the same thing. I was like, they
oh.
totally skipped right over the AFC and NFC championship instead of being like, let us get one of them. Let us get one of them. And then the other one's fine because they're both on the same day, or let us get whatever one's first and we'll do the alternate broadcast. We don't even need to do both. They just, nope, we're doing the Super Bowl.
who's more excited, the NFL or Nickelodeon, you think?
Nickelodeon, definitely. I personally think, dude, when I was 10 years old, I would not have watched this on Nickelodeon either. Like, I don't know. I feel like this isn't even, if you're like a real sports fan, like even when you're younger, you don't want to watch like an animated version of it. I mean, I wouldn't have wanted to. I don't know.
Not to talk down on the younger
that.
generation, but the Fortnite generation right there might love to catch this on Nickelodeon. Especially like their parents are watching the game downstairs, or not even. Their parents aren't sports people. I mean, nobody's watching regular Nickelodeon at that time, I don't think. So like, why wouldn't you throw that on? It's a good marketing move by the NFL. Get some new viewers, sell some more merch, and then Nickelodeon definitely popping it off. I think that's a great move by them.
You think the NFL is more excited for it and profits more than Nickelodeon?
Oh, for sure, for sure.
I think it's a pretty equal deal.
Well, there's no merchandise being sold by Nickelodeon.
True.
The NFL merchandise, especially like the kid gear, and like even if your kid watches, imagine you're a parent that doesn't or likes sports and your kid doesn't, or you don't even like sports that much, and you realize that your kid watched a Nickelodeon game and now they like some team. You just buy them some kids gear. I think it's just a great marketing play all around.
I think like what Mackie said, I think anyone that gets to work with the NFL, it's an instantly just boosting all your numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the biggest, baddest company in America. There's a reason that every Sunday is owned by basically, or Sunday, Monday, and Thursday now. I wouldn't say Thursday as much, but Sunday and Monday, the NFL is king.
Huff, I bet you can think of a few people too, like maybe people that you friends with, work with, or something. People that aren't sports buffs, but they'd be like, "I'll throw on Nickelodeon just to check it out."
We'll watch someone get slimed. We'll watch someone get slimed as they score a touchdown. That's cool.
Yeah,
Mitch Trubisky MVP.
Yeah, the MVP, dude. It's more important than the Super Bowl MVP. So.
All right, and then to end off this week, we are going to end off with our top 5 of the NFL this week. Back again with another week for our NFL positional rankings. This week, we're going to focus on the centerpiece of the defense, the inside linebacker position. Who do you guys have rounding out your top 5 in the middle of the field?
I can definitely get us rolling here. I'm excited for this
Someone
one.
wants to go here. I didn't see this in here until right now, so I need to make this list.
Yeah, no, you'll be able to get the names quick, and once you hear me rip through them, but I'll go with some shout-outs first. Shaq Leonard, he should be at this list, but because of his injuries in recent years, he's kind of fallen out, but I think he'll get back there soon. And then Demario Davis, centerpiece of that New Orleans Saints defense, which could project them to win the weak division. Two guys that are all over the field and definitely Pro Bowl caliber players, but starting from my list, I'm going to go with number 5 at the beginning. I'm going to go with Tremaine Edmonds. I mean, a lot of people have him lower that I've seen on their rankings, but he's only 25 years old. He just left the Buffalo defense to be the centerpiece of the Bears defense, and he got the bag, and it's worth it. I think he's going to flourish there, and he's going to move into that upper echelon of MLBs. And then coming in at 4, got to respect one of the GOATs of the position. If you'd asked me this 5 years ago, he was number 1, but it's Bobby Wagner. I mean, it's crazy that he's still doing it to this day. He's all over the field, leading the league in tackles, stops through the air and on the ground, and gets in the backfield. Crazy how good he is. Coming at number 3, I have one of the Super Bowl heroes from a few years ago, Levante David. Gets a lot of help from Devin White roaming the field with him, but he's the captain of that defense. And the reason that I think that the Bucs are going to hit their win over on the year is going to be because of that defense. And with Levante David at full health, he'll help them do that. At number 2, I have AFC North's finest Roquan Smith, who the Ravens brought in with a great trade, in my opinion, last year. And then they extended him for almost as much as Lamar this year. But he's the centerpiece of that defense. He's wearing number 0 now up in Baltimore, so he's going to have a great year. And then at number 1, I think it's pretty consensus here. Fred Warner, best middle linebacker in the league. Super young, super fast. He's like Bobby Wagner on crack. And he's just on one of the best defenses in the NFL over the past 10 years. So I expect him to keep eating for years to come.
I like the list, Ace. I'm pretty much, well, not the same as you, but I got a few of the same names at the top there. Coming in at number 5, I'm gonna go Matt Milano. A little underappreciated in my opinion, but definitely up there. You didn't even give him your honorable mention. I'm surprised there, but definitely a top, at least top 7 guy in my opinion. Number 4, I'm gonna go Shaq Leonard. Like you said, I think he would definitely be in the top 3, but with his injuries, he's been on and off the field, so you gotta respect the guys in the top 3. Number 3, I'm going Roquan Smith. Like you said, beast up in the AFC North for those Baltimore Ravens, and I think they're going to be pretty successful this year as well. So put him at 3. Number 2, I'm going Levante David. Absolute dog as well. Deserves to be in top 2, and obviously number 1, Fred Warner. Best middle linebacker in the league, like you said. I don't think anyone's taking that from him, at least not right now.
I like those picks because when Leonard's healthy, he could definitely be number 2 right behind Warner.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I don't think anybody's uprooting him, but you know what's kind of crazy is we don't use this conversation for Warner. Is Dre Greenlaw is like on the cusp of that top 5, but is it because he's on that defense with Warner? That was my thought process with Milano. Was Tremaine Edmonds was that middle linebacker up in Buffalo? I want to see how Milano fares without Edmonds now. Is he still going to be that lockdown defense? I mean, I know there's still a lot of help around him. What does he have? Ed Oliver, 2 great safeties, some good corners. So, I mean, there's still help up there in Buffalo, but that's the only reason I have him lower. I prefer those middle linebackers.
Yeah, that's a good list coming from both of you. I actually have the same top 3 as Ace, but I'll get into my 5. My 5 is Tremaine Edmonds. That's a guy that I wanted the Steelers to really go out and get this year when he was signing that free agent deal with the Bears. That was someone I really wanted to see us come and solidify the inside of our defense with. I got Tremaine Edmonds at number 5. Number 4, I am going to go Darius Leonard. Like Ace said, the injuries do kind of hurt him a little bit, and being on the Colts, kind of being on a tough, bad team for the past couple of years has kind of hurt him, but being still one of the best guys in the middle of the field at the position. Number 3, I do have Levante David, a former Super Bowl champion with the Bucs. He was he was the face of that defense, in my opinion. Him and Devin White were holding down the middle of that Tampa Bay defense, and that was a huge part of the reason they won the Super Bowl. I know they had TB12 on offense, but that defense was something special, and him holding down the middle. Number 2, another guy I wanted the Steelers to go out and get from the Chicago Bears, Roquan Smith. Like Ace said, goes to Baltimore. He's been a hell of a player since Baltimore got him. He's my opinion, like the ideal Baltimore Raven, just a badass middle linebacker, come in and fill the shoes of some of the greats that they've had on defense throughout my lifetime. I know I was at the Steelers-Raven game this year in Pittsburgh. I watched Trubisky literally throw Roquan Smith the ball twice. Didn't even really have to do much for it. I don't even think the one time he was looking, he caught it. So Roquan Smith, number 2, and then the unanimous number 1, Fred Warner, the guy out in San Francisco that's been doing it for a couple of years. San Francisco, they just breed defenders out there. In the past, Ace, we've talked about in general the Patrick Willis and Navarro Bowman eras out there, and now, like you said, it's Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw, and they just keep doing it. But Fred Warner is for sure the number 1 middle linebacker in the NFL, in my opinion.
Yeah, what's crazy is a lot of these middle linebackers that we're talking about are all young too. Like Tremaine Edmonds, 25 years old.
I didn't give an honorable mention. My honorable mention was Demario Davis. You said him too.
I'm surprised you didn't give Legion of Boom, Bobby Wagner a shout out there.
I want to. I don't know. I feel like he's so slow now.
People are waiting on his downfall, and it's just not coming though. Like he puts up so many tackles, and he affects sacks, forced fumbles, interceptions. It's crazy how he's still doing it at that age. These other guys are all mid-20s. He's in mid-30s.
Yeah.
Super Bowl champion as well, but Demario Davis, he was really good. A few other guys on the outside that can't think of any. I mean, nobody. Your buddy up in Pittsburgh just got paid like he's a top 5 middle linebacker.
Well, he's out. They're out. I mean, that's outside. So
he's outside.
Yeah, him and Water on the outside.
Who's Edwards inside?
Those edge rushers just get paid.
You have an Edwards inside? Is that who it is?
What's his name? I'm blanking right now. Who'd we sign?
Spillane?
Spillane's gone. We signed that Cole Holcomb. That's always our hole is our middle linebackers. We always have good edge rushers and good D line. Our middle linebackers are always our weak link. Let me see who our middle linebackers.
It's crazy to look at the style of play middle linebackers play with nowadays in the NFL too. You remember back even 10, 15 years ago when we were growing up, Brian Urlacher, Ray Lewis, even Luke Kuechly and Patrick Willis, they were these huge guys that would stuff the run, plug the A-B gap, whatever. But now you got to be a versatile linebacker with some speed, get sideline to sideline, cover those rushing quarterbacks. It's really important in today's NFL. I miss the era of Brian Urlacher and Ray Lewis smacking people across the middle, though.
Yeah, I know what you mean. The Steelers inside linebackers position depth chart is actually kind of a joke. Cole Holcomb and Elandon Roberts at the starting spot.
Landon Roberts, ex-Patriots Super Bowl champion.
And then behind them, guy we just signed from New York is Quan Alexander. So that's our top three.
He was good. He's just old. He was a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. But I mean, I think I have a better linebacker group than you. Mackey's got Van Der Esch down there. I think he kind of plays on the outside now, but he's not too bad. But I like Jawan Bentley. He's pretty slept on for the Patriots, and he's got that green sticker on his helmet now, and he's really moving up the upper echelon. He's going to get paid when his time comes.
Yeah, that's the one thing the Steelers lack always is middle linebacker. I mean, even the years Devin Bush, Shazier, haven't been able to fill in Shazier.
Literally, they thought so with Bush, and it's a long way fallen. Guys like Miles Jack falling out of the conversation now too. You usually see him.
He's not on our team anymore. We didn't re-sign him. That was a 1-year deal, and he was always hurt. And I don't know. The Steelers weren't too big on him, and I didn't see us bringing him back, and I don't think they did.
No, yeah, but Devin White. I mean, we talked about Levante David, but he overshadows Devin White. I think he's one of the best young linebackers in the league.
Oh, he's probably my honorable mention. I should have thrown that in there. I don't know how I said his name and didn't put him in there. For a young guy, he's probably one of the
especially what he did in the Super Bowl run. Remember what he did for the Bucs in that Super Bowl run?
Yeah,
he's that new style where he can cover guys like Lamar Jackson who roll out of the pocket. Kenneth Murray out on the Chargers. That's another good mention we can give as well.
That is a good one.
One else really popping into my mind here, but
there's some young guys. The Jaguars have a couple young linebackers that were really good last year. They have a lot of good, like that Josh Allen. He's an edge rusher.
Your
a
buddy
lot of guys I want to say the
fellow AFC North guy, JOK. A lot of people think he has a potential to shoot up the rankings as well. Not too bad.
Yeah.
But a lot of good names nowadays. I like those lists. Pretty consensus. So definitely see those guys come the season, and we'll get back to you with outside linebackers, I believe, next week.
Yeah.
Huff, you'll get a hometown boy up in that ranking.
I was gonna say we'll do some edge rushers, and I'll actually put together a list there. Inside linebackers are kind of like I don't know. There's not too many there's no Ray Lewis like you said. There's no it's crazy. But all right, I think that's gonna do it for us this week. Anyone else got anything? Are we good to wrap it up?
I was just going to touch on a few highlights. We mentioned that UFC 291 last week. Justin Gaethje coming ahead with a win over Dustin Poirier. That whole card was a nice one to watch. I know Huff had some good sharp bets on that. So definitely let us know when you have those picks. We'll post them up for you and definitely talk about them. Got some more UFC fights coming down the pipeline. Got some more bets coming down the pipeline, though. I'm excited for that O'Malley fight in just over a couple weeks here in Boston, so that'll be a good one. And then in other news, we had that Team USA women's team almost getting edged out of the round of 16 in the Women's World Cup, which is crazy because they're the biggest favorite of all time. Mackie jinxed my win last week. That's all right. They still got in. We're getting better odds now in the next round, so be ready. Ride Team USA. They're going to bounce back.
I'm not even going to lie. I ended up betting that, and I was like, why did I bet this? He said it was going to win. I literally was so mad at myself because he jinxed it, and I still took it.
Well, I thought it was the gold medal game. I didn't realize it was a damn preliminary game, so that was also the difference. And I thought it was like a full game, not a regulation time. So
if there's extra time, Mac, if there's overtime in that game, they're winning. They were peppering them at the end. They almost took the win.
Yeah, you see that? That was close. I was watching.
And then they tied at 3 a.m. the other day. They almost got knocked out of the tournament. Now they're going to have to fight for their lives in a tough seeding.
This is what they wanted. They wanted a little adversity to deal with.
Yeah, and I want that on the books too. Imagine we get them at plus. Whew. Hammer.
Never.
I'll take a low ones though.
Yeah. All right, I think that's going to do it for us this week. Like Ace said, a couple of the UFC and stuff like that coming up in the coming weeks. U.S. women's national team is wrapping up the World Cup. We'll keep coming with the baseball plays. And like we said, the football season is officially here as we have reached the month of August. Preseason getting underway, like we said, tomorrow with the Hall of Fame game. Stay tuned for any of the plays we have in the NFL, MLB. As we get closer to college football is right around the corner, coming right before the NFL. We keep saying NFL is almost back, and college football is a week before that. So A lot of sports coming up in the month of August, and we're excited to bring them to you. So,
And that's going to
thanks
do it
for
for us
listening,
on
and we'll
this
see you guys
episode of
next
Hit the
week
Books.
for
Thank you to
episode
everyone who
50
tunes in
of
each
season
and every
2.
week. Without you,
Let's
we
go.
wouldn't be able to do what
Here
we
we
do
go, boys.
here. So
NFL
please
starting
like, share,
tomorrow.
and
Let's get
subscribe
it.
wherever you can. And don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for our plays each and every night in the NHL, NFL, MLB, NBA, college basketball, and college football. Thank you again, and see you next week.